ResortLoop.com is proudly sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Indulge in a taste from the South Pacific. Joffrey's new Disney Parks and Resorts blend, Alani, brings the islands to you. Blended with Hawaiian Kona beans and roasted to perfection, Alani is buttery smooth with a tropical sweet aftertaste. Available at Alani or Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. To our new passengers, aloha and welcome aboard.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott.
Bob Collar.
This is ResortLoop.com. This is episode 330, which is also our area code.
No,
Me too.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Not you?
Oh, wait. Not me. Don't
Oh,
stop
no.
me.
Yeah, it is.
Ah,
It
see,
used
I-
to be 216. It's the 216.
Not for you.
Not anymore.
No.
No. I'm so confused. We have been on Skype now with our guests for
6 hours.
about 6 hours, and waiting to try and start this show. But before we do, Tim,
Yes.
you've got a review.
I have another exciting, and thank you for the resort review. Oh my goodness, the podcast review from WDW Rob S. He goes, well, I admit it. I've been a huge fan, and I have been listening for a long time. And yes, I'm just getting around to do a review of the show. Let's say I'm a slacker. So that being said, I love these guys. They are great to listen to. I listen on my phone through the Bluetooth in my car, and I have listened to almost every podcast, twice. He goes, yes, I do a lot of driving, so I have lots of time on my hands.
Wow.
They don't just enjoy Walt Disney World. They also give you their honest view on the Walt Disney World. Not overproduced. Oh, no. No, not at all. Just a very well-done podcast. It's as you are sitting down with old friends just chatting it up. Can't get much better than that. Well, thank you very much.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate those. And yeah, if you've been a long time listener and sitting around doing nothing on this wonderful summer that we're planning on having this year,
Exactly.
in the United States or overseas, shoot us a review over there on iTunes. We appreciate those.
We appreciate it very much. Does a whole lot for the show.
Absolutely. Tim, I do have a very quick This Day in Disney History.
Bring it.
Are you ready?
I'm sitting down.
This one's kind of cool. I forgot about this one. 2008. Back in 2008, Buzz Lightyear blasts off to the International Space Station as a member of the crew of the Space Shuttle Discovery.
How did I miss that?
I know.
Oh.
I remember that. The toy space traveler is part of a program that Disney's Youth Education Series and NASA have developed. Buzz's mission coincides with the opening of Toy Story Midway Mania, a new 4D interactive attraction opening on this day at Walt Disney World.
Wow. Now kids are
How
going.
about that?
Kids are now going, what's a space shuttle?
Exactly.
Wow.
What's an International Space Station? And what is Common Core? Oh, see.
Wow.
Well, my kids just finished with school, so yeah. There's a lot of irritation in my house right now. Anyway, Tim,
Yes.
what are we going to talk about today?
This is our monthly podcast extravaganza known as...
We're only willing to do this once a month.
Yeah, we might have to stretch it out a little further now. I'm just exhausted. We've not even started. The exciting DVC Roundtable show.
We're working on their stamina.
That'll be for
Tim.
running. That'll come up
Hope you're
later.
wearing your sneakers, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Bob.
Please go around the table and introduce everybody.
Well, join us at the head of the round table, if that was such a thing, would be Emily Hansa Hicks.
Think of me as King Arthur.
There you go.
We're all equal here.
Okay.
Rebecca Toon
Hello.
and the original Super Looper Joe Quattrochi.
I'm still not the special guest.
Joe, what's important is you're special to us.
Thank you,
We're
guys.
all
Appreciate
pretty
it.
special on here.
Absolutely. So we're going to try and put this square peg in this round table.
Oh, there you go.
With some questions we've had. Actually, a lot of people loving the DVC roundtable, guys.
It's one
Do
of
you know
our
this?
most. It's one of our most talked about shows. People love the DVC
I'm not
Roundtable.
sure if people actually love it or if they just come away with so many questions.
It's because of our gravitas. That's what it is.
Whoa!
You know,
She's swearing.
people-
Oh my God!
people-
This is a
people
family
are
show.
attracted to our serious serious attitude.
There goes no edit 16.
There we go.
We haven't been canceled yet, so that's good.
That we know of.
Tim, I didn't know that was an option.
We can do that?
It's not an option. So.
Oh, okay. I knew there was a reason
Hey,
we
are you
kept
guys
doing
still
it.
getting your paychecks? Because mine stopped for some reason. If that's
Did
true.
it? Did it? Well, yours better not be more than mine because mine's got a lot of zeros in it.
It's 3 times yours, Bob. It's 3 times yours.
Starting with 0, mine has
Starting
zero.
with-
Anyway, guys, here's one of the questions that we received about our DVC panel, or for our DVC panel. All right, here we go. You guys ready for this? This is from Mark from Chicago.
Cool.
Mark
He
from
says,
Chicago.
Mark says, what type of park tickets do the DVC panel members usually buy for their trips?
Oh, see. Okay, so I'm ready on this one here. I'll be quick because I know Joe has a really good answer. Okay. I usually, it's a mix. Okay, so we bought 10-day non-expiring park hoppers, and those are unfortunately not available anymore. That's what I would recommend. Unfortunately, it's not available anymore. So luckily we have those. If I'd had more free cash, I would have bought probably 3 to 5 of them and stuck them in the safe. But we did not have the free cash at the time, or else I would have invested those because they will actually pay off better than your IRA. However, we have an annual pass, and so we use that we're going to use our 10-day, we're going to use those for spot days between years where we plan more than one trip that are longer trips or a bunch of weekend trips. So basically you have to figure out how often you're going per year, when you're going, and then figure out, would it be better to just have like a 1-day ticket that day, that week, whatever. However, so we use a combination of annual passes and 10-day tickets that are non-expiring. So that's completely unhelpful if you don't have one. So I'll turn it over.
So wait a minute.
Excellent. Thank you for that helpful answer.
If we can, so
You
Emily's
can't get there
answer.
from here.
Emily's answer is build a time machine.
Right.
Get those tickets.
Go back in time. Undercover tourists may still have some. I don't know. Check them out. Some of the resellers that actually buy bulk tickets may still have some of those non-expiring tickets. But the other thing to do is just sort of figure out the years where you are going to go. I think the break-even point is 7 to 10 days. And
A little more now that the prices have gone up.
okay,
It's right. It's right at 10 days. And the only reason I know is because I just bought mine. It's right at 10 days.
Right.
Now.
So you want to figure out like how many times you're going to go that year, how spontaneous. Now I have to say, DVC travelers, we're not as spontaneous as maybe we used to be because we generally are so excited. We have our trips booked. I don't know about Joe. Maybe you can help me out here. I know Chris would back me up on this. We have our trips. We have them booked out through the end of next year. So through 2017, we know when we're going to go, where we're going to go. And then we can sort of project how long those trips are. And we're willing to skip a day or two at the parks because we know we're going to come back. So you can really kind of go with that. That said, the annual pass is it's usually the best deal. And it gives you a host of other benefits. So you can kind of use those to offset any sort of excess cost. So I would say the annual pass most of the time.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I'm sorry to interrupt, Rebecca.
No, go ahead. I was going to say Joe did the numbers.
Yeah, I'm the same way. First of all, like I know we usually go in September. I'm a big marathon weekend guy for Run Disney more than the other weekends. So I know that like I'm going to exceed the 10-day, between the 8 to 10 or 11-day, break off. Now me being in Florida for the time being, I've been making a lot of sporadic trips as well. So an annual pass is a no-brainer for me. However, I don't know, Bob, did you read the rest of the question? Because that's where I did the math for Mark.
Well, okay, so Mark goes on to say, we have a surprise trip planned in 12/28 to 1/5, so late December to early January, after Christmas this year, and may piggyback that trip with a summer 2017 trip. But he's a little leery in plopping down the big money for 4 annual passes, and he asks any suggestions. And you did the numbers, Joe.
Yes, I mean, first of all, the numbers that I got, and I know that if he's a DVC member, the numbers that I got off the website, and I don't know if he's doing a renewal or not because the renewal numbers are a little different than if you're buying it up front. But if he's planning on going in December, that's going to be a platinum pass because I believe the gold which I have, is blacked out those dates around Christmas time. So the DVC Platinum Pass comes out to be about $691.19. That includes tax. Now an 8-day park hopper is going to run him about $478.19 with tax. So if he's thinking about doing a trip in the summertime, he's got a difference of $213 between an 8-day park hopper and what he would be spending on a DVC annual pass. So it's pretty much like, if you think you're going to, if there's a 50-50 chance, I would just spend the money and get the annual pass. I mean, because you're going to save more in the long run, because a two-day park hopper is going to run him about $273.71. So you're already over. You would have already saved with the DVC annual pass. So if you think that you're even going to possibly go in the summertime, I mean, it's just a couple $100. I mean, just put a little bit of money away if it's possible and just get the annual pass, because really you're going to need to do 2 more days to break even, and anything after that's a bonus. So that's pretty much what I would think. I just want to throw in one quick personal experience, not related to this question, but if you do have a DVC annual pass, I just experienced this. If you do buy the renewal certificate, and I was not aware of this, my annual pass expired in January. You get a 60-day window, so you get 30 days before your annual pass expires, and then you get 30 days afterwards to activate it. Well, when I bought my renewal certificate, I didn't realize that you get a 30-day window after your anniversary date to start it. So I ended up showing up at Animal Kingdom 3 months later, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're 5 months into your annual pass." It's like, no, I'm not. And I did not realize that if you buy the renewal certificate, your annual pass, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it. So I actually had to pay the $80 difference to actually restart my annual pass from the May anniversary date. So just a little word to the wise, if you do have a DVC annual pass and you do a renewal certificate, it will start within 30 days of when that anniversary date is. So I didn't read the fine print, and as somebody who reads a lot of blogs, I still didn't realize that it started. So don't make the same mistake I did. The guest services was awesome. They worked the numbers with me to see if a Florida resident rate or a DVC rate was better. Obviously the DVC rate was better. So I redid my annual pass there with a new date, but just don't make the same mistake I did. But just want to throw that little piece of advice in there. But yeah, I would definitely go with the annual pass for Mark. It's only a 2-day difference. If you think you're going to go, just do it, because you're going to regret it if you don't.
So
That's a great
I would,
tip, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I would say I have slightly different opinion. I think Mark said that his biggest concern with buying the annual passes was that they had children that were getting older and the opportunities to go were getting a little slimmer. So that's sort of where we are. And as Emily said, even as renters of DVC points, I have a trip planned out as far as New Year's already, just to make sure I secure that room that I wanted. So even though we plan out ahead, which sort of makes that annual pass, we can tell if it's going to pay off or not. I think what I would do in this particular case is split the difference. And I would buy the annual passes for the adults, but not the children. Because then worst case scenario, you've sort of hedged your bets. And if the children can't go, perhaps you and the wife can slip down for a long weekend, or, just to get, a quick trip in during the summer, even if the kids can't go. Plus the annual pass is going to give you the photo package and a couple of other benefits that you're not going to have if you just have a straight 8-day pass. So I think I would probably split the difference and just buy it for the adults, but not the children. And just to back up on what Joe says, not just the DVC, but the annual pass holder, even without the DVC, it begins the day of your renewal. So if your expiration date is May 26th and you renew it, it still goes a calendar year. It's not the first day you go into the park. It's the day that you renew it.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, but
No, that's a really good point, because I would have thought it started.
Yeah,
the day
so
that you paid
it
the
actually
money to renew.
Yeah, so it actually does. I mean, you get a little bit of a break if you renew. I think this time it was around $80 to $100. I think I got a break on renewal, but I just happened to be going down at the same time it was due to become renewal. But I think, for instance, if it expires in September and you're not going to be down there again until February, it may make sense to go ahead and let it completely lapse and just buy a new one in February, because otherwise it's going to kick back in September, and you're going to have from September to February of an annual pass that you haven't used at all.
And those prices that I quoted were, I think those were not renewal prices. Just for everybody listening out there, those were just straight up brand new, DVC, annual pass rates.
And they are all subject to change because they change them all the time. Obviously, sometimes they drop the price. Just kidding.
Yeah, I think there's always a great reason to have an annual pass, and of course that's coming from me because I will take more trips because I have that annual pass than I would.
I was going to say, watch out for creep. Yeah,
it definitely happens. But even as if you're a DVC owner and you have a limited amount of points, there's also the opportunity to use your annual pass. I mean, they not guaranteed, but they have some really great annual pass holder discounts. I think there's one out there right now that's about a 30% off for deluxe resorts, which is about the same level as the DVC villas for annual pass holders. So
Rebecca, we actually just looked at going to the Polynesian just for like 1 or 2 nights on an annual pass / Florida resident rate, and they're about the same. And it's actually always about 36% off of what it usually is. We actually did the math on it. So there are some, and that was in July. So it was one of the slower weekends. So there are some good discounts out there right now. For how long they're going to be out there, I don't know. But yeah, they're definitely over even the 30%. It was 36% what we looked at. I mean, it's still a $400 some room, but you're 36% off.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing about annual passes, certainly as DVC, you look at free dining, I use that in quotes, if it comes out.
Prepaid.
And you want to, prepaid. If you want to take advantage of that as an AP holder, you can do that. Just hang on to that ticket. Don't use it. Don't use it to go into the parks. And then when it comes, if you let your AP lapse, you can use that towards the price of a new annual pass.
Oh, okay.
And I do have to say thank you guys because we actually have a very tricky situation, sort of similar. My husband and I are going in for Wine and Dine, and then we're going to go for Marathon Weekend, and we haven't really sorted all of the dates. But we also plan to go next year for the Star Wars weekend. So, and we're trying to figure out which of those trips we're going to bring all of the whole family, and which ones we're just going to go as a couple to run. And since we don't really know, I think we may just, our annual passes this year expire in September. I think we may renew our annual passes because we know we're going to be there at least 3 times, and then figure out what to do with the kids. Maybe that'll be cheaper to do individually, but I actually hadn't thought about breaking it apart by not buying the kids the annual passes as well yet.
You just leave the kids at Tim and Bob's house, they can watch.
Right.
There you go.
That was what we were thinking for those reasons.
Well, we're sort of in a great situation.
Oh, no.
We're in a great situation now because we did not, John and I bought our annual passes. I bought mine in November. He bought his when we were there in February. And then we actually did buy my daughter one in August because we knew we'd be back in February. So we're all sort of staggered, which is great because we're not hit with 4 renewals at once. We just get 1 renewal at a time. By the time we pay off 1 renewal, the next one's up. So it's just sort of this continual amount of money going to Disney, but it's not a huge hit all at once, which is great.
That's like my house, continual amount of money going to Disney.
Yeah.
I love that idea of leaving the 3 kids at Tim's house. But anyway, quick question. How do you guys, let's look at this in a geographic look as far as the AP goes. Do you think more folks that are in that lower southeastern quadrant of the United States, is an AP a little bit more of a value to them because they're able to go to the parks more than, let's say, folks that are west of the Mississippi? If you're west of the Mississippi, would purchasing an annual pass, I know this has nothing to do with DVC. I'm just curious about this.
Well, I'm in Connecticut.
Right.
I think it depends on how often you're going to go, and it doesn't really. I don't think any Disney fan has ever let geography stop him.
Okay.
I feel like we'll build a railroad if we need to.
A monorail. You mean a monorail?
As somebody who's in Florida right now, I'm about an hour from Disney, and on the weekends, like it's been known where I look at my wife and I'm like, you want to go to like Citrico's for dinner, and we'll literally like look at fast passes. We'll drive to the Grand Floridian, park the car, tables in Wonderland at valet it. We'll eat dinner. You know, we'll do something special. We'll go do our like 2 fast pass attractions, and then we'll leave and go home. So
I'm
yes,
so jealous.
there is something to that. Like now, me and her always talk like we don't want to go all the time, because then it kind of, if you go all the time, it's not going to be as special, which sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. The more you do something, the more it's not special. But there is something to be said for being so close right now. I mean, like I'm only an hour away. Like I know next week I'm going to be going on weekends to play golf. I mean, so it's you know what I'm saying. So it's like there definitely is something to it to being.
Yeah, I think geographically, when you don't have an airline involved or a road trip involved, clearly that makes it easier. But I think for me, I've been a pass holder for, oh goodness, probably 14 years now. And even, I think there's probably been only 1 year where I didn't get enough trips out of it to make it, to break even. I think there was one trip and one time in the 14 years. Even then, even when I just have it in my wallet, when I open my wallet and I see it, there's just something, it's kind of like being a DVC owner. There's just something about owning that piece that makes you always feel connected.
Well,
it's true.
Yeah,
and Matt and I we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, and we were casting about where we should go for it, and we had one night, and the night before we had still not booked a place, and I said, well, worst comes to worst, we can just go to Disney World. I'm pretty sure we can find like some like last minute airline deal and just fly down to Disney World for the night. And he looked at me quite seriously and he's like, that's not a bad idea. And so that's the moment you could have if you had an annual pass.
Exactly.
Not trying to sell it, but just saying.
We sort of piggybacking on Bob's show from the other day. We're actually going. We leave tomorrow, and we actually priced out other trips. We priced out a trip into the city, which literally only required us to get on the train on the metro and go into the city for the same amount of time. And he looked at me about halfway through the negotiations, and he said, Disney is literally the cheapest place we could go right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And because we have the annual pass holders, that's absolutely true.
Right.
It's totally, yep.
Even with the airfare, it was the cheapest place we could go.
Yeah. I like the idea of having the annual passes, especially if you're a DVC owner, because like you said, there may be times where you just go, you know what, we got these extra points sitting over here. Let's just shoot down for a weekend and enjoy ourselves. I love that idea. So, Tim, we had another question.
Yeah, we better get going because apparently Rebecca has to go pack.
Yeah, she's on her way. That's right.
What do you think I'm doing right now?
Oh, very nice. We got
girl.
Exactly. We got
She looks like one of those infomercial guys with the little earpiece going. She's packing her sham wow right now.
I do love infomercials, but anyway, we got a note from a good friend of the show, Sheila.
Oh, Sheila.
I knew somebody was going to say
you were going to do that.
She thanks us for the show. She goes, she has a question. If you rent someone's points, which DVC perks are you eligible for, and which ones are only for the owners? She says, for instance, can you use the concierge? Can you use the DVC lounges, DVC parking, and how about the childcare? There are probably some other DVC perks that she doesn't even know about since she's not an owner. She's considering renting the points on a future trip and just would like to know about this.
So no.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
top of the
Well,
no top of the world lounge.
Wow.
Now, I will caveat that by saying it depends on who you get on the elevator with.
That is true.
Make some friends.
Disney has an incredible policy of it always depends on who you ask and what time of the day it is and how the weather's blowing. But by policy, you are not eligible for any of the typical DVC perks. Now, parking, there's still parking for the villas, and you can still use like the it used to be called the Neverland Club at the Polynesian, and I have no small children, so I don't remember what it's called.
Lilo
now.
and Stitch.
Thank you. I mean, you can certainly
It's
still
amazing.
use those, but
you don't get the discount.
You don't get the discount. You don't.
And it's a huge discount. Huge.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so, no, you are not eligible for those perks. And those are also some of the perks that have gone away to people who are buying resale at this time now as well.
And you have to be a DVC member staying at a DVC property to use some of these perks. I actually went to the same night. I went to Citrico's with my wife. We said, let's go to Top of the World. We'll go and we'll go and watch Wishes from up top. And I had my DVC membership card and everything like that. And they wanted to see my Magic Man. I said, oh no. And it scanned blank. They're like, oh, which resort are you staying? I said, oh, I'm not. And they're like, oh, this is only for DVC guests only. So I'm an owner. He goes, well, you have to actually be staying at a DVC resort, even though you're an owner. So they let us up anyway. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I honestly didn't know. And he let us up in the elevator anyway. But they were pretty adamant about, you have to be staying at a DVC resort and be a DVC member. And they made sure that, like they're saying, you need to also carry your current membership card. Because I had an old expired one. They said, no, you need to carry the new blue ones with the expiration date. So they are trying to cut down on some of the things, but like Rebecca and Emily said, it's all about who you get in the elevator with. If you smile and you say, "Oh, I didn't know," like they might let you up. But yeah, you're always entitled.
And I'm certainly not. I'm not insinuating that you should do that.
Yeah,
I'm just, I wouldn't want somebody to come back and tell us, "Oh, you were completely wrong. I got up there without a problem." I mean,
but
it's
if you're
a situation basis.
Yeah, but if you're renting points, you're always entitled to whatever comes with the room. I mean, if parking.
Yeah, and certainly one of the perks that I happen to think about is like if you're in a studio, a lot of the studios don't have in-room washers and dryers, but they'll have a washer and dryer, a laundry room down the hall, and it's free to do your laundry there. And you do get to use those facilities, but you don't get to use the lounges or some of those other. And you don't. I think that's great. I think that when you spend the money and you buy into that program, I think it's great that they offer some of those things.
Now, Rebecca, I believe, and Emily, chime in if you know about this. If you use your points to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge on the concierge rooms, I believe that even if you're renting, I believe if you are concierge points, I believe you could use the concierge for that. Correct?
I believe you can. If you're staying concierge level, you do get the concierge.
Because that's points. Yeah, so that's
you're paying for that within the points.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer Sheila's question, that would be the only one. If you rented concierge points, that's the room you booked, then you could use the concierge at that resort.
And to go off of Joey's point, not to be too technical, but I believe you have to not only be a DVC member, but you to use the Top of the World and pool hopping, but you also have to be staying on points. So you cannot be staying for cash.
Okay, there you go. Yep.
You can't.
You have to be.
Yep. So even if you had a room reservation, if it wasn't based, like if you hadn't paid with your DVC points, which kind of makes sense because if you think about those amenities being paid for by your dues are prorated based on the amount of points you have. So if you're paying cash separately or if you're doing any of these other arrangements, you're not necessarily paying the dues, which is what is paying for those perks.
So there you go.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're just dream crushers right there.
Wow. Good luck, Sheila.
Sorry, Sheila.
Here's my bottom line though. Still totally worth it.
Right. To go resale?
No, it's resale, rental.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
It just location, and those villas are in some of the most incredible locations.
Right. And you will miss out on the free DVD rentals, let me tell you.
Yeah, those in-room DVD rentals. Sorry, guys.
I know Rebecca underrates them, but I have to tell you, every time we go and get 2 DVDs, and sometimes we end up turning them in and getting more DVDs. Because when you're stuck in the room with your precious, precious bundles of joy, I love them. I love you, Gabby and Romy Lad. When you're listening and you're 20, I love you. That's why I took you to Disney World all the time. But yes, get the darn movies.
Get those movies. Use those perks. Yeah.
But you got to explain to him right now why you left them at Tim's house while you and your husband to run Disney event. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to renting DVC. My wife and I have talked about it. We're going to do it this time if we can, and maybe I'll have a little bit to chime in there. I know Tim has stayed DVC. On some families DVC, and but that they purchased from Disney, right?
Yes, they did.
So yeah, so find somebody, Sheila, that that has DVC, and just use theirs. Forget
Or throw one of our names around when you
I have
get
a couple
there.
of friends who have tried that strategy, and what I can tell you is I'm not able to help them because I have, when I go onto my DVC dashboard, I see 0 points available for 2016, 0 points available for 2017, and I'm wondering if Matt will notice if I accidentally bought a couple of extras, or if I'm going to have to rent, because then at least it won't say Disney.
Right.
I will absolutely admit, I always wonder when we rent points, I always think about the people that we rent them for, and I'm like,
who are you?
why aren't you using these?
Yeah, like, what is wrong with you people?
Call me, let me tell you how to do this. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, we found some rumors that are floating around the DVC community. We want to get you guys' take on these rumors. One was the DVC tour perks that might be coming to the My Disney experience. So you might actually be able to get some extra fast passes as DVC members.
Ooh.
What do you think of that?
I need to get on the rumor mill again. That's what I get for not watching Bravo. I'm in. That's all I have to
I've
say.
actually heard this rumor before in a couple different fashions, whether it be for DVC members or AP members or, any other of the loyalty groups that are out there. And I think that any way that Disney honors those people who have invested the most time and energy and money into the parks and into the resorts, I think that that's a great thing for them to do. It's a huge commitment to be a DVC owner. So I think that they should be recognized. And I think a lot of times they're somewhat marginalized because it's a mentality of, well, we already have them. They're already coming. We don't need to do anything else. But, they do a great job of keeping that attrition low by sort of treating them to certain things, like whether it be extra fast passes or member lounges or discounts or, any of those things. I think it's great.
And speaking of member lounges,
Exactly.
it's still not open.
It's still not open.
I thought it was going to be in June. Was it?
June
I
6th
thought it was-
is
yeah.
right now. June 6th is supposed to be the opening date.
I've checked again, and again it
and
was closed.
By the way, Sheila, you will not be able to go to that either if you're renting points. And in fact, if you purchase resale after April 4th, you will not be able to access that DVC lounge when it does open.
Wow.
Just, another way they're sort of battening down the hatches, I think.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
But then again, like you guys said on the last DVC, as far as the cost is concerned, you're saving so much money
Right.
that maybe.
Don't worry about the
Yeah.
lounge.
I absolutely, yeah.
Maybe-
I mean,
Diet Coke.
I would compare the lounge, the DVC lounge that they're opening there at the Imagination Pavilion. It's if you've ever been to Food and Wine and gone to the Chase Lounge,
right.
it's almost going to be almost identical to that. It's going to have the soda machine and I think drinks for purchase and just sort of place to cool off and recharge your phones if you want. So if you're not DVC or if you're DVC resale but you have a Chase card, pop on up to one of those.
I don't think it's going to ruin your day if
Yeah.
if you're saving thousands of dollars every year on a vacation. I don't think it's going to be that much of it.
So if your idea was to fly to Disney World and then go to your employee lounge, then you should probably reconsider. But if your idea was to go to Disney World and maybe you're okay with bringing a water bottle, then you're good.
and you have like a Mophie case or some kind of external charger, you're probably fine.
Right. Or just go over to Club Cool. You can get some over there.
Amen.
have a swig of Beverly and keep moving.
Rebecca, they
say-
actually have a Club Cool. You can actually go get drinks there in small little cups that aren't tequila. I don't know if you know.
Mix them with the tequila.
That's
in
why
the
you
water
bring
bottle.
your own,
So-
Mom.
Nice.
Don't worry, Rebecca. I got you covered. We'll talk offline.
Cue the announcement that the views expressed by Rebecca are not necessarily endorsed by the resort.
By the way, I did have somebody. I mean, for all of those who wonder these things, which there are probably more than you think, I did have the security guards they are clearly tightening up security because they asked me last time what was in my water bottle.
Oh.
And I told them pink lemonade. So there you
Did
go.
they buy it?
Does anyone notice she's not indicating if that's actually what was in it?
Right.
She just said, I told them.
As far as anyone knows, it's pink lemonade.
It was pinkish.
Were you putting Joe Quattroci's rosé in there?
I don't have to answer your questions.
There you go. Self-incrimination. We don't have to do that. All right, Tim. This monorail has jumped the track, so
It has.
I think now is the time to say that, Tim, is all I've got for our DVC roundtable this time.
Okay.
Oh, don't forget the villas going in at Wilderness Lodge. Just a quick mention for those.
Oh, yeah.
Copper Creek Villas are going in.
Not to derail the train again, but
No,
question
that was
for those of
totally
you-
on topic.
Great. So, question for those of you who are paying attention to this: do you guys know? Are they going to be sold as new, like a separate new DVC from the Wilderness Lodge, or are those going to be part of the Wilderness Lodge?
So my understanding is Copper Creek will be new.
Okay.
The existing
they'll be
Wilderness
separate?
Lodge villas are going to be renamed Boulder Ridge.
Boulder Ridge.
Those will retain. Yeah, they will be renamed Boulder Ridge Villas at Disney's Wilderness Lodge because Disney's nothing if we're not interested in long names. And so there will be Boulder Ridge, there will be Copper Creek, and then in addition to the villas for Copper Creek, there will also be I think it's 26 waterfront cabins along
So if you-
Bay Lake.
So, if you buy a contract at Copper Creek, are your points good at Boulder Ridge as well, or are those treated as a completely separate DVC contract?
You know, that's it, as in for the 11 or 7 month
Yes.
booking window.
Yeah.
I have not read definitive evidence on it, and there's not been a lot
I wouldn't
of
be surprised
conversation
if
about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they split it up. It made it a
Yeah.
separate
Yeah.
resort. That's when I think it's gonna be done. But I have no inside knowledge of that. But if they're coming up with two separate names, they're trying to draw
Distinguish.
the line down the sand. So that's what I think.
Because I got to be honest, I'm really tempted. I'm obsessed with the Pacific Northwest, and I think that would be pretty amazing. But I don't know if I have another direct purchase in me. I just don't know.
Hey, before we go on, Joe, you're going to take care of our Spotlight Resort for this month.
Do we have time, or do you want to save that for another week?
No, we got to do it. People want this once a month. That's what they're looking forward to.
Give the people what they want, Joe.
Well, Emily, you were going to split this with me, or
I'll help you.
I gotta go
No
back.
pressure.
I gotta go back to my notes here. I was not prepared. So we were going to talk about Disney's Boardwalk Villas.
Yeah.
And essentially,
Clown face.
the board. I think it's the clown face. I know, right?
Can't sleep, clowns will eat me.
the
I'm
rumor.
going to start a petition. I'm going to start a petition to save the clown.
Yeah,
No,
the other-
actually, yeah, because there's a rumor that it's going away.
Yeah, the Luna Park pool, I believe it is the Luna Pier pool, whatever it is. Yeah, the clown supposedly is going to be going away. That's the rumor on the internet, but we'll see. But I don't even know where you want to start on this. I mean, I've stayed at the Boardwalk Studios. For all you guys that don't know, the Disney's Boardwalk Villas is based off of Atlantic City, New Jersey, at the turn of the century, my home state. I think it's a great resort. It's got 3 pools. Obviously the Luna Park pool with the big clown slide that everybody's afraid of. I personally think that the location is fantastic. I actually like it almost better than Beach Club because they actually split the difference with walking to the studios. Points wise, Boardwalk is always cheaper than Beach Club. So you'll pay about 10 points for studio off season for a standard view compared to about 14 or 15 or somewhere around there for Beach Club.
Big. There's a lot of rooms.
Yeah,
so availability is usually good.
Yeah, the rooms have just been refurbished. When I stayed there last year, we were in a non-refurbished room, and it was still pretty nice. I mean, they were a little run down, but it's like any Disney room where it goes through its soft rehabs. It's going to look better when it's done. But for us, Boardwalk is great. I mean, it's got a bunch of great restaurants out front. It's got entertainment, so if you've got kids, there's stuff down on the boardwalk itself. They have magicians and clowns and all kinds of that kind of stuff, like random kind of performers. Great restaurants such as the ESPN Club. Flying Fish is under renovation right now. The Boardwalk Bakery, I believe, is that still open or not?
Closed.
Is it closed? Yeah, I know they're doing some
I think it's
refurbs.
closed right now.
And your vocabulary lesson for the day is all those street performers are called buskers.
There you go. So
buskers. Yep.
You got the buskers there.
Yep.
One of my favorite restaurants, Trattoria Al Forno. It's a great Italian restaurant. It's one of my favorites before a Run Disney race. A lot of people don't even think about Trattoria Al Forno because it's a little more in the upscale. It's not signature dining, but it's a little nicer. It's it's not like eating your standard pizza, whatever. So great Italian food there. It's home to Jelly Rolls, which everybody's crazy fun nighttime spot with the dueling pianos, and Atlantic Dance Hall, which there's really not much going on there. But
one time we went there.
It's a great resort. There's studios, there's 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms, and there's also grand villas as well. Just some stats here. The studios, they sleep up to 4. It's got 1 queen size bed. It's got a double sleeper sofa. It's got a kitchenette, no washer and dryer, and it's about 412 square feet. The 1 bedroom villas, they sleep 4 as well. They have a kitchen. They have a washer and dryer inside the unit. 2 bathrooms and a living room, and they're approximately about 814 square feet. The 2 bedroom villas, they sleep 9. This is what all Disney says about sleeping 9, but three bathrooms, sofa bed, a sleeper chair, washer and dryer, and they're about 1,236 square feet, which is a pretty big size unit. And the grand villas are 2 stories. They have 4 bathrooms. They sleep 12. They have 2 bedrooms with 2 queen beds each. They are approximately 2,491 square feet, and they also have a sleeper sofa and chair in the upstairs part. And they have different categories of the rooms. They have a boardwalk view, they have a garden and pool view, and a standard view. In my opinion, in the time that I've stayed there and the millions of reviews that I've read beforehand, I prefer a standard or garden view because the boardwalk view, as cool as it sounds, if you want quiet at night, if there's a lot going on, if you're there during a peak season, you might hear a lot of the noise from the boardwalk between the people outside and the boats going by. We all know about horns with boats, as Len told us on our last DVC Roundtable. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're looking for quiet, maybe the boardwalk view, even though it sounds great, might not be your best offer. But they do have 3 different views. There's a gym on site that's called Muscles and Bustles. I have used it. It's pretty good. They got like a lot of great machinery in there. If you're a runner, you might want to just run around the lake and run down to the studios and back. It's a pretty good run. But transportation wise, you got your buses to the theme parks, but you also could walk to Epcot or the studios. Epcot's like a few minute walk, and then the studios is about maybe a 10-minute walk, which isn't bad at all. Or you could also take the water taxi, which sounds cool, but sometimes if you could hoof it, it's probably a little bit faster than taking the water taxi. One last thing is just the location is great. Besides being close to the studios and to Epcot, it's close to Fantasia Gardens mini golf, so it's an easy, quick walk if you want to go play mini golf. You don't have to worry about moving the car, getting on a bus. And also too, if you're an adult, I still say this, that the Swan and Dolphin has some great nighttime bars and lounges in it. So if you're staying at the boardwalk, and everybody always talks about drinking around the world and the monorail bar crawl and stuff, Echo Lake is great, and the Swan and Dolphin, the lounges in there are really good, especially if there's a convention in town. There could be a lot going on, so that is also a plus as well. You can go in there for some nightly drinks. There's some great restaurants in the Swan and Dolphin as well. They also take tables in Wonderland. They also take ADRs. So the location of the boardwalk is really like in the heart of everything. It doesn't get the love that Beach Club gets. I think it's because of the pool, but the boardwalk is quickly turning into one of me and my wife's favorites. We're going again this year. We're splitting our stay between Bay Lake Tower and a boardwalk. So we're really looking forward to it. And I know I just completely dominated that, Emily. I'm so sorry. But if you want to throw in your experience with the 1 or 2 bedrooms, because I have not stayed in one of those, go ahead.
That's okay. The new studios can actually accommodate 5, the refurbished ones.
Nice.
Yeah. I wouldn't suggest that because it's super small, but if you have 2 small kids, it would be fine.
I never dominate, Joe. I never talk too much, so that's weird. But no, I think that was really comprehensive. The one thing I will say for DVC specific members, when you are trying to waitlist a room in the boardwalk, if you don't own, you probably will try to waitlist at some point. If you're trying to waitlist, pick garden view, because the garden is I think the bulk of the rooms, as Joe mentioned, are garden view, and so. Standard and Garden View. I think Garden View, I can't remember if they're the same price as the boardwalk room, but you're much more likely to get a Garden View than you are to get a standard view or a boardwalk view. So that's a little tip I have for you, because we've waitlisted there before and gotten them. The other tip I would say is that, as Joe mentioned, it's all about location. So Boardwalk has one of the best combinations of transportation. When you get in there, you can take a boat, you can walk, or you can take a monorail to pretty much everything but Animal Kingdom. So you can take a boat to Hollywood Studios or Epcot. You can take a monorail to Epcot and then then Magic Kingdom. And that's another thing that ties into our discussion of the annual passes. The annual passes open up the option of walking through Epcot from monorail to Hollywood Studios. So we have often thought, okay, we'll just walk through Epcot, or we'll just walk through this place, and that's something you can't do unless you have a park hopper or you have an annual pass. So that's something to keep in mind when you're considering an annual pass. You sort of get that ability to walk through Epcot.
That's a good point.
Yeah, one of our favorite things that we do, and just to elaborate more on what Emily said, is you'll get extra magic hours at Epcot, between 8 a.m. early arrival. We'll walk over to Epcot. We'll scan in. We'll do the two main attractions. We'll do Test Track and Soarin', and then we'll hop on the monorail and go to the Magic Kingdom the rest of the day. So we'll bang out the two big attractions at Epcot, and just keep on going. So it's like a bonus in the morning. We don't have to take a bus to go somewhere.
Drive-by.
It's a drive-by. It's a drive-by early extra magic hours. But
and the other thing, I've legitimately done this. You can go into the parks and get a coffee from the Joffrey stand.
Oh, yes.
And you can go back to your room before anybody wakes up.
We have done that.
That has happened.
Go visit the Bellevue Lounge. The Bellevue Lounge is amazing.
Yeah, it's a great resort. It's themed amazing. The staff is fantastic there.
Totally cool.
They split the sides up pretty well. The left side is all DVC, the right side is the boardwalk in. So you walk in, if you're DVC, you go to the left. If you're boardwalk in, you go to the right. But it's just a great resort. We feel at home there, even though we're not owners there, quote unquote. But we really enjoy it, and we're looking forward to it again this year.
They also have a huge community hall. The community halls are only at specific resorts. The Beach Club does not have a community hall. So the community hall is where you're going to have a bunch of cool little arcade games. They have other video consoles. They have kids' movies playing crafts. They have
DVD rentals.
They have kids' toys. Every time we go, the kids, I swear, sometimes I think they're happier there than they were in the Magic Kingdom. They have all these free crafts for the kids. They have some that are pay as you go, but most of the stuff, they can make these little necklaces. They can build little whatever. They can paint. I think the things that are charged are crafts with lots of material costs, like ceramics and things like that. But the beads and things like that tend to be free. And they'll even give you the crafts to take home to your room if you can't stay for whatever reason. So it's a little bit, you can go sit on the couch and watch your kids play with the attendants, if you will. And so that's a really nice benefit of the boardwalk. You just wander right over there, and it's a huge room. They also have the fire pit with the marshmallow roasting and the big screen movies. So,
and if anybody really cares, just completely random here. Boardwalk shares a bus with the Swan and Dolphin. That means to some people that means a lot to them. For bus service, they share it with Swan and Dolphin.
Yeah, but like you guys said, if you have annual passes, really the only bus you're going to need to take is to Animal Kingdom. Right. Everything else you can get to pretty easily. So,
the other thing about Boardwalk is it doesn't have a sort of a dedicated quick serve food. It's got the Boardwalk Bakery, which I think is coming back, but aside from that, there's not like a food court area like you see in some of the values or some of the moderates or even some of the deluxes. But of course, that is right
true. I don't think that. But they do have a lot of, you can buy pizza. There's a little pizza window.
Absolutely, there's the pizza window. You're not out of choices. Right. It's just a different mindset that I think you have to get into. It's not a food court where you have a bunch of different bays or windows to go up to. So
the world is your food court at the boardwalk.
and let's not forget that Joffrey's now has the Trattoria al Forno coffee that you can purchase.
That was incredible.
And it is incredible. Tim and I have both had it. It is ridiculously good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I promised to tell you my Joffrey smoothie story.
Okay.
So I did a lot of research before I started running about what I was supposed to eat, because eating is very important to me, because I love eating. So, and drinking, by the way. So this is a combination of eating and drinking. I determined that you're supposed to eat, according to what I've read, and so don't take this as good advice or anything, but you should have protein and carbs before you run, about an hour before. So I said, okay, I can do that. So if I'm doing a morning run, I tried to drink a big smoothie that was chock full of protein and carbs about an hour before I would run. And I also read that caffeine was one of the best performance-enhancing drugs that's legally available. So I said, that sounds like a good plan too. So I started mixing my Joffreys with my smoothie. The other day, I had my smoothie, and I had already taken my kids to school, and I thought I had had a cup of coffee then. So I left it out of my smoothie. Then I found my full cup of coffee later, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I feel like I'm dying. Because anyway, my morning routine relies on at least 2 cups of Joffrey, and I omitted it completely that day. So that's a PSA, guys.
That's a bad day.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't let that happen to you. Keep track of your Joffreys.
Mark it on your calendar or something.
Right.
We don't want to miss out on that. There you go. That is outstanding. Anything else from our roundtable?
Real quick, the clown pool, scary or fun?
Fun.
How much vodka have you had?
I think it's fun.
I'm not gonna lie. We stayed there. For wine and dine in November, and I swore I would never go down that. What I've learned about that is, if you're going down the slide, you don't actually see the face, so it's not scary at all.
There you go. And Tim, being on the DVC Roundtable with all these folks, reminds me, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right.
Wow.
Here I am. Anyway, Tim, we better wrap this.
We better. Everybody,
We can
thanks.
go all night, guys. You know we can.
We know you can, and you can do that.
Rebecca's got a flight to catch.
She's got a fact.
Details.
Exactly. Oh, everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. You can find me on Twitter, ResortLoop.Tim, on Facebook at Tim Scott, and the website, ResortLoop.com.
I'm ResortLoop Bob on the Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, rate us on iTunes. What else should folks do, Tim?
Everyone, please go out there and share the gateway to the magic.
See you, everybody. With 4 theme parks, 25 resort hotels, hundreds of dining and shopping locations, and seemingly innumerable special events and ticket options, planning a trip to Walt Disney World can seem overwhelming. That's why the ResortLoop.com podcast has teamed up with People Mover Travel to help you get the most magic out of your Disney vacation. People Mover Travel will walk you through every aspect of your next Disney trip, from ensuring you get the best discounts to FastPass Plus and dining reservations and so many other things. Best of all, there is no fee for their service. That's right, you get your very own expert Disney vacation planner at no cost to you. For more information and to request a free, no-obligation quote, visit peoplemovertravel.com.
You know, my husband, it came on when I got in the car because it automatically went to Bluetooth. And my husband said, like, which one's Bob and which one's Tim? Can you tell the difference? And I'm like, of course I can. Can you tell the difference between our identical twins?
Can you tell?
Mostly.
Mostly.
Just nobody knows what Tim looks like. That's the only thing.
That's true.
I know.
I do.
You do?
I know. Yep.
How do you know?
I'm not telling.
Oh.